Welcome to day 2 of learning Tableau with Ayushi. Today, I'll show you the difference between table calculations and LODs and when to use each with one simple example. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we'll break down data analytic concepts in the way that actually makes sense. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. For today's video, our goal is to show percentage of sales by category within each region. The key question here is, what happens to our percentage when we filter out a category? Should the percentages be recalculated or should they stay fixed? Spoiler alert, the answer depends entirely on which calculation type you use, and getting this wrong is one of the most common mistakes. Let's start by building a simple table. The data we are using today is sample stored data provided by the Tableau. Let's start by dragging our region into the row shelf and category into the row shelf and selecting sales on the text. Now we have a simple table which represents sales by category in particular region. Let's create our first calculation, total sales. We'll be using this calculation later to calculate our total percentage. So that's why this calculation is important. We have utilized total functions for calculating sum of sales. Apply, and let's drag this total sales in our text and let's select table. Now we have sales and total sales along with it. So by default, our total sales has been calculated for all regions and all categories, and this is not what we want. We need a total per regions only, so we need to go into the table calculation settings and tell Tableau to compute by category only. Let's go to the measure values and right click on the total sales, go to the compute using and select category. So now each row shows the total for its own region. Let's jump into our second calculation and let's name it table calculation. And what we are gonna do, we're gonna calculate a percent of sales. So we're gonna name it that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna calculate sum of sales and divide it by total sales and click apply. Let's also drag this in our measure values and see what happens. So now it's showing 0 because it's a percentage. So what we're gonna need to format it. So click on the format and go to the number, click on the percentage and make it to 1 decimal place. The calculation that we have just created, it should automatically compute by categories only. Let's quickly check that. So right click on the pill and go to the compute using, and yes, it's computed by categories. So now here comes the interesting part. Let's select our filters and see what happens. Let's click on region and do show filter. Let's select category and show filter, and let's add segment as well. So now we have our 3 filters. Let's see what happens when I select segment filter. If I'm deselecting consumers, so what's happening? Our total sales and percentages and values are changing, and so far it works fine. Let's go to the region and see what happens. So if I'm deselecting South, our region changes, but our percentages, total sales, it remains the same, and that's how it should work. Let's go to the category and see what happens. So let's just deselect furniture, and now when I remove a category, the total drops and the percentage still adds up to 100, but which is wrong. We have 3 categories here, so our percentage should depend on the 3 categories. When I'm removing one category, Tableau is only considering 2 of the categories and then showing us the percent based on those 2 categories. So now the sum of these 2 categories is 100. What we are seeing here is the percent based on the 2 categories, but originally in the data we have 3 categories, and this is creating a misinformation. Regardless what we have selected in our category, our percentages, our values should be based on what originally we have in our categories, which is like 3 categories. So our percentage should still show the same percentage regardless of what we have selected in our category. So this is happening because Tableau calculations run after filters are applied. So we need to filter using a table calculation instead. So let's fix this. Let's create another calculation. Let's name it category filter. Here we are using lookup function. Lookup function consists of expression and offset. So in the expression, we are mentioning our category and we are offsetting it to 0. This calculation looks complex, but it's actually a simple one. So lookup 0 returns the value from the current row. So this basically saying, give me the category of this exact row. And here's the trick. Because it's a table calculation, this filter runs after the data is already aggregated and shown. So let me quickly show you that. Let's remove the category from the filters and add our new filter in the filter section. Select all, apply, and OK. Let's click on the show filter. So now when you exclude a category, the row disappears, but the total sales and the percentages stay correct. So now when you exclude a category, the row disappears, but the total sales in percentages stays correct. Let's style it based on our requirement. From cross table, we're gonna create a bar chart, and let me quickly show you how. We're gonna remove some of sales and total sales. Now select the bar chart here, go to the labels, and let's do show mark labels. So here we have our bar chart. Now let's just do the same thing but using level of detail expressions, or commonly known as LODs. Let's start by creating a calculated field, but first let's just create the same cross table using regions in the row shelves and category in the row shelf, and adding sales to the text. So now again we have our cross table which shows sales by category as per the region. Now let's create our calculation. So let's call it LOD, sales per region segment. LOD expressions starts with curly braces and ends with curly braces, and we'll be using fixed LOD expression. We're gonna select fixed, and what we are fixing in our view is region and segment. We're gonna calculate sum of sales. So this is basically what this calculation is doing. It's giving us total sales fixed on the region and segment level of detail. Like apply, and let's add it to the text, select table. So now again what we see is the total sales. So what this calculation is telling, this tells Tableau to ignore everything else on the view and just give me sales to fixed region and segment. And let's add it to the text and select table, and let's create our final calculation, which is percent of sale. So let's name it LOD percent of sales. So now again we are calculating the total sum. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna select total sums and select sales here, and gonna divide this by the LOD expression that we have just created. And oh, we are getting an error. Let's read it together. So this calculation says cannot mix aggregated and non-aggregated arguments with this function. So what it means, look at this, what we are doing, we are dividing sum of sales, which is an aggregated field, with level of detail, total sales, the calculated field we just created. But this one, this is not an aggregated field. So that's why it's throwing an error. In Tableau, we cannot divide an aggregated field with non-aggregated arguments. So let's make it aggregated as well, and let's provide sum here and see what happens. So yeah, it says this calculation is valid and we are no longer having the same error. And let's click apply, okay. And let's drag this to our measure values, and again it's also showing us the 0 because it's a percentage. So what we need to go on the format and format it to percentage, and let's again select 1 decimal place, and here we have our percentages. And now let's quickly jump to the part where we are seeing the functioning of our filters. So let's click on category and do show filter, and on segment again show filters, and we want our region as well, so click show filter here. So now let's again check when we are deselecting segment and what happens. So when we deselected our percentage changed, which is correct, and that's how it's supposed to work. Let's go on to the region. Whenever we are deselecting any region, our percentages remains the same, only that region disappears. And let's go to the category and see what happens. Let's deselect technology this time. And now when we have deselected the technology, and see, like before, our total sales is not changing. Our percentage of sales is not changing as well. So this is one of the quickest way to achieve the same thing. And this happened because of our LOD expression. Because category is not in the fixed definition, so Tableau completely ignores it. And this is exactly the superpower of fixed LODs. You are in full control of what the calculation knows about. So now we have built both bar charts, and let's put them on a dashboard side by side for comparison. Let's click on create a dashboard, and let's just simply drag our sheet 4 in the view and sheet 5. So right now I have not named my worksheets, but it's always a best practice to give a name to the worksheets. And let's also resize our dashboard to 1080 and 930. So now we have our dashboard with our two sheets, and right now both looks identical to the users, but under the hood they work completely different. These are the basic charts that we need. So right now this dashboard looks very much unprofessional. So let me also show you how to turn this boring looking graphs or sheets to professional. Let's pick one bar chart and format this. So let's select sheet and go to the sheet. So first thing first, what we're gonna do, we're gonna rename our worksheet. We're calling it percent of total with table calculations. And let's select center here, click apply. Let's make it bold, apply, and OK. Let's format our axis as well. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna rename our axis to percent of sales. Let's close it. And let's format our numbers as well, because since we are showing percentages, so let's select percent here as well. And let's make it to 0 decimal place. So we have also formatted our axis as well. Let's change our color to green. So our bar graphs are pretty much bright right now, but our categories and regions looks a bit dull in front of our bars. So let's do one thing. Let's format our category as well, and let's go to font and select black. So now you can instantly see the difference between selecting the colors and how it changes the appearance of the bar graph. Let's go on the region and do the same. Let's format this as well to the black color. And now we have formatted that as well. And let's also provide color to our worksheet as well. So we are already in the format pane, and let's go on shading and let's select sheet and go to the worksheet, and let's select green color here. So now we have our one bar graph pretty much styled. And let's see how it looks. Now you can instantly see the difference between the graph we have styled and the other graph. Let's go to the sheet 2 and let's do the same again. Let's select color and let's make it blue. And we can select any blue. I like this blue color for this particular visualization, so I added that. And let's again format our font here. Let's select black color. Same goes for the region, and we are again selecting black color here. Let's also provide title to our worksheet, and for this we are calling it percent of total with level of detail calculations, and let's make it center and bold, apply. Okay, let's rename our axis as well. First, let's click on edit axis and rename the axis to percent of sales and close it, and format numbers. So we have already selected format here, and let's change our numbers to percentages and make decimal places to 0. And let's also add color to our sheet. So we'll select shading again, go to the sheet and add color of your choice. For this one, I added a very light blue color. And let's go to our dashboard. So far, our sheet looks fine, but our filters, they look terrible. this is not how we do it. So let's format our filters again. For this, what we're gonna do, we'll start by adding a containers. So let's add one container at the top, and we'll go to the container and select distribute contents evenly. And let's remove these filters from here because we don't know which filters belong to which graph. So this is only adding more confusion here. So let's just remove this, and we're gonna click on the sheet and go to the filters and add category filter 1 and region and segments. So now we have our 3 filters here. Let's drag this bit up. So here comes the most important part of styling the filters. In most of the business cases, we do not style it like that. We always provide a multiple value drop down list, and we also make sure that we are providing apply button. So for that, I'll show you again quickly. We go on region and we're gonna select multiple value drop down, and now we have a professional filter ready to be used by your stakeholders. So let's just rename this filter as well. We're gonna do edit title. Let's remove filter 1 from here, apply OK. So we're gonna do the same for this sheet. Let's just add another horizontal container here. Let's click distribute contents evenly, and let's add these filters again. So we're gonna select category. Let's drag it in this container. We're gonna go again, and now we want a region filter. Again, let's drag it here, and we also want our segment here. So we're gonna drag segment here as well. Let's make it a bit, let's drag this little bit up and style and format this filters again. So now we have our filters ready, and let's drag this as well. This is how our dashboard is looking right now. And if we compare to the previous charts that we started with, this dashboard looks pretty much very professional. So let's summarize the key differences. Table calculations run after filters. They're powerful, but you need to be careful about filter order. LOD expressions run before most filters. Fixed LODs are specifically powerful because you define exactly what dimensions matter to the calculation. When should you use each one? Table calculations are used when your logic depends on what's visible in the view, like a running total of the sales that changes when you filter month, or ranking top 5 customers that updates when you switch regions. Use LOD calculations when your logic should stay fixed regardless of the view, like comparing each region to total company sales or calculating total sales per customer that doesn't change even if you filter category. And that's it. You now understand not just what they are, but when and why to choose one over the other. If this video helped you, please drop a like. It genuinely helps this channel to grow.